We talk hip-hop with a serpent tongue, no holds barred reviews and interviews, but it's all in fun. Chopping it up with some of your favorites and some you never heard of, to the Maximus. Banter laced with candor in our practices. Respect to the newbies and the greats, hot takes baked into this layer cake for the sake of the listener. Putting you on to the freshness, remember where you heard it, guilty or innocent, what's the verdict?
What's going on, everybody? This is Corban, the Serpent tongue Skipwith.
And Brutus Maximus from Rawside Hip Hop.
And you're listening to The Verdict. We have some very special guests today. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves.
Yo, this your man Apollo Brown representing Detroit. What's up?
Peace. It's your boy Philmore Greene representing the west side of Chicago. What's the deal?
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I've been excited the whole week waiting for this, and I know Brutus has as well. So this is an amazing opportunity. And again, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for having us.
Nah, it's our pleasure. So today we wanted to talk about the album, The Cost of Living, which talking to so many people is their album of the year this year. Top 5 in a lot of people's opinions. To me, it is definitely one of the albums of the year, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. So yeah, that's gonna be a theme for today. And I want to start by saying,
we didn't make it on the Rawside Hip Hop album of the year category, man. So,
and there's good reason for that.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. But no, I'll let you continue on. We'll talk about it later.
Live on air. We got.
I mean, 10 out of 10, man. That deserves a spot. But we'll okay. Talk about it later.
No, let's clear this now. So the way that I have to run the Rawside Hip Hop Awards, I do it from the 14th of November to the 14th of November every year. And that's so that I've got time to go back through everything.
We dropped on the 15th too.
I know, and you're already in the 2023 spreadsheet, Apollo.
Wow.
So
okay. All right.
It's the way that it works for me to be able to then use, before we hit that black hole of Christmas, to be able to promote those albums that came out that year and celebrate them, pick the winners, and all that sort of stuff. So you came the day after. And yeah, you're already on the list for next year, but it is a phenomenal album.
I'm just joking with you, man. I'm just messing around. It's all good.
I like to clear the air. I don't give 10 out of 10 for everything. It's a dope album. We know that.
Appreciate it.
You know what, man? 24 hours.
24 hours. We didn't make it by 24 hours, man.
We didn't make it by 24, man.
Man, that's how you know it's legit when I can't even break the rules for you two.
Hey, I love it. I'm all about it, man. I'm all about it. Absolutely.
So the first question I want to ask is about the intro track Consequences. What inspired that, and how did that dialogue come to be?
Man, I'm a soundbite maniac, man. When I'm looking for sound bites and when I'm trying to find things that can, and not just describe the album, but set the tone of the album well, and kind of give you kind of acclimate you, man, and give you what you're getting ready to experience or hear, man. So an intro is very, very important to me. So, that intro just kind of, it tells you that the cost of living is not just the cost of living. We're not talking monetary, and monetary value. We're talking the consequences of living, the choices you make, the outcomes of those choices, making it out or not making it out. Dead, in jail, or succeeding, everything that comes with living in the inner city or in just any urban population, whether it's Chicago, whether it's Detroit, whether it's New York, LA, Philadelphia, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
All over the world.
All over the world, who knows? It can be Brisbane, who knows? But it's one of those things, man. There's consequences for every every choice you make. There's a reaction for an action, and that's kind of what it, along the lines. That's what we're talking about in the intro.
Nice.
Yeah, man. I think it sets the tone nicely. It's one of those intros that kind of draws you in. You got to listen to it at least once. And it kind of gives you an idea of the content that you're getting ready to delve into.
Yeah, that's a theme with a lot of your records, Apollo. Not just this amazing album with Phil, but that's one of the things that we do get a lot of the times, because you curate and craft albums so well, is that we get that feeling from the jump at the start of every album. And Sincerely Detroit was another one of those projects. You can really tell the thought and effort that goes into curating that art piece.
Well, that's one of the things that's really important to me, man, is starting the album off right. I've never been one that can just start an album off with a song, right away with a song. I can't do it. I don't know if it's the era I come from. I come from the era of skits and intros and outros and all kinds of crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of times I don't get to all that. I do a lot of the beat snippets and sample snippets, the hidden tracks behind the track type stuff. I do a lot of that stuff on certain albums, but I do make sure that there's a good intro. I do make sure that there's something that can acclimate you to the rest of the album, man, and get you ready, get your ears adjusted, and to just kind of get you not necessarily emotionally involved yet, but it kind of gets you involved in the album before you start listening to it, man. So that's important to me.
Yeah.
Intro to the movie. It's the intro to the movie. What's going to keep the film? What's going to keep you watching?
Yeah, man.
It's interesting that you say that, Philmore, because I think when I wrote the review on the album, I was saying how I can't even go back to the words that I used for it, but it was essentially that you were creating verbal visuals. That was, with your lyricism, the storytelling, the sort of social commentary. So it is interesting to look at it like that, because you are painting those verbal visuals, and Apollo's creating that sound and setting that scene from the jump. So immediately we see that synergy.
For sure. And thanks for the review, by the way. It was a great, well written review. I gotta slow it down when I say those W's. It was a great review, man. And Apollo's vision for the production, it was just like, it was so cinematic. When you take records like Paradise, right? There's nothing sunny about that record. You know what I mean? Opposed to A Day on the Ave, when it's coming on and it's cinematic. You see the exhaust coming from the top of the buildings downtown, and that guy, he's just waking up. He's going to the corner store for a loose square, and it's the morning, and I started off, good morning. You know what I mean? Welcome to the Ave. It's no better place. But you got Paradise. The score for the night was pure silence. It's like Apollo paint those pictures with the production, and that's what provoked me to go ahead and just put those words to it. So yeah, those are movie scenes, and we're about to drop the video for Day on the Ave, and it's a movie. It's a mini movie. So yeah, like, we create movie scenes with those records, man, and I think that's something every MC should do, or should do in a sense. I think of what color is it, what's is it day, is it night? How should you feel? Is it upbeat, downward? Like, I think it's so much stuff go through my head when I hear the production. It's just like, I couldn't wait to, and the crazy part about it, those two records, Paradise, there was so much stuff going on through my head when he played the beats for me. When I picked them up, I don't even remember hearing Paradise. I had so much shit going on in my head, like I was ready to just get to work. You know what I mean? And yeah, like, the beat set the tone for me all the time. Like, if the beat tell me to write something and say something, I just let the pen flow. And those are two examples: Paradise and Day on the Ave.
Yeah. So I have a question for you, Philmore. So this part really stuck out to me. And it's that so in the album you describe you describe in the lyrics on the song Time Goes how your grandma made you fight, and if you lost, you couldn't come home.
Yeah,
Can
it
you
was
talk
just
about that? Like, what was that like? Yeah, explain that.
yeah, it was just like, you come to the crib. I just got in a fight down the street, Grandma. What happened? It was three of them. Well, you better go back down there, kick their ass, and you don't come back until you kick both of their ass. That's just the way it was. You know what I mean? You had to go back. You gotta win the fight. I come from a family of fighters. My father, my mother, and it's not professional fighters. It's just, it's just the way it was in K-Town growing up. My grandma made us go back and fight more. My aunt would come back. Girls would follow her home from school, and she'd tell her, don't. They followed you home. Okay, you got 5 sisters in here. Go back and kick their ass. Take one and kick their ass. We're gonna fight you one by one if that's what it is. But we don't condone violence. We come at peace. If you bring it to us, the loves are gonna kick some ass. The loves in the mills. We're gonna get busy if we have to, but we come at peace and love. You know what I'm saying? But that's what that line was about.
Yeah.
That line was about.
How long was the writing process? So how long did it take to write all the lyrics for the album?
Yo, we got the when did we get the beats, Apollo? When did I come get the beats? April?
It was like was it sometime in the summer,
April.
right? Yeah, or was it
April.
like early summer? Okay. Springtime.
Yeah,
and then
April.
it was only a couple months. You know what I'm saying? It was literally, I don't want to say 2 months, maybe.
Yeah. It took me
2, 3
roughly
months, maybe.
Yeah, about 2 months. April, May, June. We recorded it first week of June, got the beats first week of April. It took me about 3 weeks to write everything. 3, 4 weeks, maybe 3.5. I don't know. To be honest, like I just locked in. But it didn't take no longer than a month. It didn't take no longer than a month because I locked in, I wrote, revised, and memorized. Study. It was like getting ready for a battle event. I wanted to come clean. I wanted to put a great impression on for Apollo and Mello, simply because I heard certain stories of other legendary cats coming down there doing their thing, and I didn't want to come down there like, even though I know if I had to, I would have done it. I didn't rush anything in the recording process, but I had to really come prepared and show, Apollo I was about my business. So I wrote for 2, 3 weeks, rehearsed, wrote, revised, rehearsed, record. 4 R's, man, and that's what we did. We got down there. The recording process went smooth. First week of June, photo shoot that Sunday, and we rocked that boy out. And there you go, cost of living out everywhere. As you guys say, 10 out of 10, right?
That's right. That's a really interesting insight, Philmore, because your first album, I think I read somewhere, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it took 4 or 5 years for you to write. 5 years. There you go, to write that Chicago that story, and then since that, you've been able to do the Survival Scroll, Knowledge and Power, and then Cost of Living, like within a year. After that, is that something that's just been more of a time thing, or is that a growth that you've seen in yourself as a lyricist?
Well, with the inception of writing Chicago, a third world city, it didn't exist. Hadi and I, salute to Rashid Hadi, we weren't really cooking up with the thought of putting that album out. It was just come by every Sunday. We had our days. Come by every Sunday. You cook up, and then maybe 2016, 2017, we started recording out of a studio called Faded, and we came up with the idea like, let's go ahead and put the album out, because I was so much of a perfectionist. If it was up to me, that shit would have came out 2 years later. You know what I mean? And they had to really sit me down and say, okay, I think we're ready. We have a ton of records. Let's put this together. Survival Scroll, believe it or not, Knowledge and Power was done before Survival Scroll. Knowledge and Power was on ice. We had that on ice. We was getting ready to put it out, and the pandemic happened. So I was like, nah, it's some special joints on here. We need to sit this one on ice and wait. We thought the pandemic was going to last for about 2 months, not 2.5 years. So I ordered my studio equipment, taught myself how to record, and there you have it, Survival Scroll. Survival Scroll was recorded in my kitchen, refrigerator running, the furnace running. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing in the beginning, and I recorded those records, got that done. We got Survival Scroll out, and shit, the pandemic was still going on, and I needed to put something out. I was like, okay, let's put Knowledge and Power out. Let's do it. And, then after that, Apollo reached out. I was already working on some at the time, but Apollo is a legendary guy. You know what I mean? Like, everything must cease. When Apollo gave me the news, I swear to man, I told the crew, I told Rashid and Chuck, everything shut down. We're going to get these beats. The album we're working on now, like, the shit is over. Like, we got to lock in on this. You know what I'm saying? And that was it. The last record I really locked in on for that project at the time was, sorry about that. The last record I really locked in for that record at the time was, I did it in the Airbnb in Michigan a day before we was going to get the beats. And I said, this is the last one. So when I pick these beats up, I'm not touching this shit until it's all over. You know what I mean? And that's what it was. So it's a process with all those records, but it's definitely maturity within all of them.
That's cool, and it's lovely to hear. A quality lyricist such as yourself speak such volumes for Apollo, because us as hip hop fans, I used to call Apollo Brown the boom bap Batman, because when he started, it was like it was the sound that people wanted. It's the sound that people needed, and he had it. You know what I mean? So he was like that hero that came when we needed him. It's kind of like Black Milk had just passed, and that was that era that we needed that sound, and boom, here comes Apollo Brown, and the rest's history.
Yeah. The rest is history. You know what I mean? Apollo, come on, man. Like, that's bro would never say it. Bro, legend, man. You're a legend. I like to call it, he's still active. Legends are legends. To me, legends are legends when they retire. You know what I mean? Legends are legends when they retire, but bro's still active, so he's legendary. When he hang up the sneakers and the towel, he's automatically inducted. You know what I'm saying? So, come on, man. He won't say it, but I'll say it for him. Bro's legendary, man. He's a legend in this shit.
I just make beats and try to make as good music as I can, man. So, and it doesn't work unless I have a somebody that is worthy, making that music come alive, man, such as yourself. So, I need that,
man.
That's kind of how it was. He was obviously I had known about him, and I did my research and listened to music, and all the way back to the first album, the Chicago album, and Rashid Hadi is like, he's somebody I've known for 15 years, man. We go way back, and one of the most amazing producers on this earth to me. Somebody that I definitely I hold him in high regard. So, if anyone he's working with, if he gives the cosign, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, he's always worked very, very closely with Phil. So, I didn't even need to delve any further, man. So they came through on tour. Phil was on tour with Sky Zoo and Elzai, and they came through Detroit, man. And I'm gonna come to the show and show my support and say what's up. And I just pulled him aside and was like, "Yo, man, we got to work. We got to do something." And at the time, I didn't know if it was a song or a feature or what, man. But we both carved out the window of opportunity, man, and decided to go ahead and craft this album. So that's what you got. And
yes, sir.
It came out better than expected. I didn't expect anything bad ever. I don't work with anybody I'm not a fan of, and I don't work with anybody that I got to babysit. I know what he's capable of, and like you said, it's verbal vision. You know what I'm saying? Like you lived in Chicago for 50 minutes on this album. You know what I'm saying? He took you there. He took you to his spot, took you to his place, brought you into his life. So, you can't ask for better. You know, when an MC is visual and takes you there, you can't ask for better than that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the music nowadays are just sounds and words. I don't want sounds and words. I want music that's going to make me feel. Whether it makes me feel good or bad, whatever, I want that music to make me feel. You know, I want it to take me places. You know, I want it to make me either forget something or remember something. You know, that's important to me. Feeling is number one for me. Whether I'm making the music or whether I'm listening to the music, it doesn't matter. Music as a whole, in general, has to have feeling of some sort. So,
Right.
you know, and like I said, you know, yeah, I provided the soundtrack, man, but he made the music come alive. So, you know, very, very proud of this record.
Yes, sir. And he said that too. He told me. He said, I ain't gonna babysit you. I was like, nah, you ain't gonna have to, bro. Slide the beats on this
Yeah,
hard
no,
drive.
I don't want no I don't want no phone calls. I don't want no phone calls talking about, yo, check out what I wrote to this. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want none of that, man.
Nah.
We're gonna listen when we get in the studio. You know what I'm saying? When you come out the booth, you're gonna hear my reaction. You're gonna see my reaction first, and then you're gonna hear my reaction. And you know, I don't want to hear anything over the phone. I don't want to hear, you know, I'm not trying to babysit you. I'm not trying to, you know, oh, you writing over there? What you doing? You working? You good? You know, I'm not doing that, man. So
I think I
shouldn't
sent
have
one
to,
text.
especially if you're hungry. You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
you're hungry, you're gonna do whatever it takes, man. So yeah, no, we it's a beautiful project. Beautiful project.
It is. So we can now
Yes, sir.
clearly state that Apollo Brown has a no passengers policy. So that's cool. That's good to know. That's out there.
Definitely not. I sent one text to Apollo during the writing part, and he didn't respond. I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave bro alone. He really mean that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, he really mean what he say. Let's go. But yeah, it was dope, man. Nobody heard what I had written until we got in there. Nobody.
Yeah.
I was the only one that knew what the shit sounded like.
Yeah, it's like Christmas
That was
morning.
the beauty in it. Yeah, beauty in it. Working together, you know.
Look, so you know, a question for you, Apollo. I was wondering if you could just maybe just in your best way possible, just describe to the people who are going to watch this, just what's your process like in the studio, and obviously for this album, like how do you, you know, making the beats, doing all the production. What's your process?
Well, first off, I'll skip ahead just a little bit. Kind of just piggybacking off of what I was just talking about. So as I was saying, we were in the studio together. That's very important for me. I don't do email albums. So, you know, being in the studio together, you know, wherever, you know, whoever the artist is, wherever they're from, whatever, flying them out to the studio here, us getting in the studio together for a week and knocking the album out together. That's important to me, man. That's one of the last things we got in this business is getting together and catching a vibe right next to each other in the same room. You know, that email album stuff, I can't do that, man. I find it very hard to develop a chemistry over email. You know what I'm saying? Sending back and forth. Ah, man, let's get in there, you know. Let's craft this project in the studio. So that right there is part of my process right there. But in the beginning, like, you know, this album per se, we'll just say, yo, I didn't even email him the beats. You know, he was like, yo, I'm gonna come to Detroit and grab them. It's like yeah, let's go, let's do it. Normally I would email the beats. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna email you the beats over, let you start writing, and then we'll get in the studio for the recording process. Nah, he came to Detroit, stayed in Detroit for the weekend. I rented out the studio. You know, I invited a bunch of friends to the studio, a bunch of peers out here in Detroit or whatever, and you know, that's when I showed him the beats right there in front of everybody else, right there in front of him. Boom, you know, and we not only listened to beats, man, but we had a nice impromptu discussion, you know, between us and everybody else that was in there about hip hop and the current state of hip hop and, then, you know, we had time left and let everybody play their new stuff, and it just became a whole thing. But going back to just this album though, yeah, he came to the studio and then took the beats home with him. And he says he started writing on the way home. So
Hell
you
yeah.
know,
Right
that's
outside
a
of
beautiful
Sweetwater.
thing. Right when they left, he pulled it
Yep.
out. It was like, yo, let's go. Let's start writing.
Pause.
Pause, yes. But yeah, so I mean, and then once the writing's done, come on back. We get in the studio, you know, however long it takes. Usually it doesn't take that long, especially in this process. I think we knocked out what I had a 8-hour block the first day, and we knocked out what? How many joints you knock out that day?
10 records. 10 records in 6 hours.
Something like that. Yeah,
We
it
had
was
18
crazy.
joints to record.
We was
We had
working.
18 joints to record. Yeah. I wasn't in the lab I wasn't in the lab. When we set foot in the lab, we went in there 30 minutes, if even 20. And I was already in the booth. We had 18 records to record. I did 10 of them the first day in 6 hours. None of them I didn't read the phone. Like I said, it was written.
Yeah, it was all memorized.
Recorded.
It was crazy.
It's all memorized. All memorized.
Crazy to me. And you know, let anyone tell it. I'm boring in the studio. I'm super boring. When I'm in the studio, it's me, whoever I'm crafting this album with, my engineer, and anybody else that has something to do with this album. If you have nothing to do with this album at all, you don't need to be in the studio with us. It's not a studio full of, you know, this is my boys is in the studio or girls or whatever. No, I don't do it. Time is money, and we're in the studio to work. There's no play in the studio. We can have fun. We can enjoy each other's company, you know, joke and laugh or whatever. But everybody that we're there to get work done. You know what I'm saying? After the studio, cool. We want to go do this, do that, whatever, go have cool, whatever. But right now, this is the workplace. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to get this done. Let's get this done and be as efficient as possible. And and that's what we did, man. And you know, when we got it done, I think we got it done in a few days. I think that third day we came in and just kind of went over everything, anything that we needed to do. You know, if we wanted to change something or just kind of go over every track, make sure we got everything. And super easy, man. Super easy, super professional. We got it done in a heartbeat. You know, then it was just like, yo, go home. I'm gonna do the rest. Let me take care of the rest, man. We on autopilot now. Let's go. So yeah.
That's it.
Yep. Then I'll take it and I'll premix the album at home in my studio and then get everything done. You know, premix as far as you know, and getting all the sound bites and all that stuff ready and everything. I get everything ready for mixing. And then I'll go in and mix. Me and my engineer will sit and mix and you know, get that done, and then we'll go master. You know, it's and that's the process, man. It's real easy. It's real simple, especially when you've done it and you've done it so many times and I use all of the same people, the same engineers. For a long time, I had a 3-engineer process. I recorded with one engineer, I mixed with another engineer, and I mastered with another engineer. These are 3 fresh ears. You know what I'm saying? So one engineer is catching things that maybe the other engineer didn't. You know, you got 3 different ears, 3 different opinions, 3 different sets of ideas. I loved it that way. Then one of my engineers retired. So I was like, all right. So now I still use 2 engineers, but even so, they're amazing engineers and they know what they're doing. But the process is easy, man. It's super easy. You just got to know what you're doing, know what you're looking for. What's the sound you're looking for? You know, and yeah, man. So it's simple. It's simple.
And Philmore, is that the same sort of process for you? You said you started writing straight away. You said you locked in, obviously, and turned this out. One thing I will say is that you can, I guess, to people that listen to a lot of hip hop, you can actually tell people that are reading lyrics and you can actually tell people that have memorized lyrics. Now, one thing I noticed about the cost of living is that everything, much like this interview with you two, like everything seems seamless, right? There is that innate chemistry. there is obviously a lot of work, that chemistry too, because you guys are professionals and you take pride in your each individual craft with the goal of the bigger picture in mind. But to hear you say, I walked out of that studio with the beats and I started writing and then I locked in, is really good to hear, because again, a lot of people can write, as Apollo said, words, but to craft lyrics and to craft songs like you do, Fillmore, I think that any insight you can give into what your little month of writing looked like would be fantastic.
Well, I would first, what I like to do, I pace myself. If I'm not writing to the beat, I don't listen to it. Because if you keep listening to the same, if you say, okay, Apollo he sent me home with 20 beats. If I listen to all 20 back to back to back to back to back, they start to get old and the ideas start to get stale, if that makes any sense. Opposed to me listening to this one beat, locking in on this one beat, gathering my thoughts, writing everything down, taking little side notes, little lines that I want to, put in there, take a break. A lot of those records, I would write 8 bars, take a 15, 20-minute break, because your brain is a muscle. You working your muscle whenever you think, and you're just feeding that muscle. So I would write 8 bars. I would keep the beat going. I'll turn it off about 2-3 minutes. Come back to it, write another 8. We're in an era where it's two verses, so we need 4 hooks when you really break it down. A hook, you think of your favorite record, you memorize that hook, that chorus. So we need 4 choruses, but they just have to be super dope. And then some of the records I had the chorus first. And some of the records, Apollo did the work for me and put A Day on the Ave. The chorus was there. So the 16s were like, okay, let me paint the picture around this. I know what it's going to be about. He did the work. So okay, now I got to do this. Lock in, finish that beat, get to the next one. Don't listen to anything else, because I want these beats to be as fresh as possible when I'm listening. So that's what it was. I took one beat at a time. I locked in on it. I said, if I can get a 16 every, and I didn't rush, 16 every 2 hours, maybe. And then after that, like I said, the brain is a muscle. You catch that groove and the 16s are flying by. So that's how I did it. I paced myself, but I locked in. I would stop for a minute, go play with my daughter, go upstairs, play with her, watch a little television, and I'm going back downstairs. I might watch some ESPN. I get really inspired by sports. Like when I was in Detroit and we were recording the album, I had this huge burst of energy because, on the personal side, I wasn't, stuff wasn't cool. So I was, someone was bothering me. But Steph Curry went for like 40 that night. And if they would have lost, they would have went down 3-1 to the Celtics, right? 40, he started yelling on the court. I watched those highlights like 40 times before I went to the lab. Went to the lab and murdered the studio. So I get inspiration by different things, and that's what that writing process was about. I paced myself. 8 bars here, 8 bars there, finish that verse, get to it, boom, boom, boom. 8 bars here, 8 bars there, or sometimes I'll write it straight through. I might work on the hook first. I was all over, but it was a very fun process, man. It was very fun. And now I'm watching Apollo. She's so detailed and neat with things. I'm going to approach every album that way from here on out. I'm taking the beats. I'm going to lock in on that one beat because I never did it that way. But he told me before I left his crib, sit aside 5 beats, lock in on those 5, and do that. But I didn't do 5. I locked in on one at a time. Next thing you know, I got fucking 16 songs. And shit, it was just like, okay, I go back to Detroit in what? 2 weeks? All right, I'm finna really, I can sit back a little bit, but I'm gonna still keep my pace. I could think a little more now and really sit back a little. Now I can play with my baby for an hour and a half now because I'm already ahead of the game. So that's what it was about me being ahead of the game. I didn't want to get to Detroit and be like, oh, I still got to write to this one. I only wrote to 14. Nah, hell no. We finna come with 20 records. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the writing process was smooth. It was pretty smooth.
That's cool. That's a really cool analogy too, Fillmore, because you've been a Chicago boy. I grew up watching Michael Jordan, and they used to always talk about Michael Jordan scoring, and he used to say, "I can score 32. That's just 8 points a quarter. That's just eight. You know what I mean?" So it's actually a very funny analogy because you approach your writing the same way as MJ approached his scoring.
Damn, I didn't even think of that. That's dope. MJ, baby, MJ. The greatest.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, Montel Jordan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Montel Jordan, baby.
This is how we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. MJ.
They say you was Montel Jordan on the court, man. Not Michael, bro.
Shit, I was more Dickie Simpkins. Straight up. I ain't had game. I ain't had game at all. To those guys.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I also want to know, like another song that really stuck out to me was the song "Immaculate." Where did that chorus develop from? That's a really unique chorus, and I really love it. It stood out to me on the album.
That was just an idea I had.
Go ahead.
I was in the studio.
Yeah.
I had an idea. I was like, "Yo, man, let's just get some talking in the background. Let's get some almost braggadocio in the background, and I had him do it, 3 or 4 times, saying different things and just almost as if you were in a room full of people talking, and there's a mic overhead, and then you hear somebody over here, and you hear somebody over here, and it just kind of talking, man. Just like, yo, you heard of this guy? Oh man, this guy's crazy, man. What you talking about, man? It's just one of the very few braggadocio moments on the album. And that's all that came from. Just an idea in the studio. It turned out pretty dope though.
Yeah.
Turned out really well. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those when you said at the start of Polo that we're transported into Chicago for an hour. That particular hook is one of those moments where you feel like you're there.
Yeah. No. I know he was looking at me crazy when I was like, "Yo, just do this real quick, man. See what?"
Yeah, for real.
See how this comes out.
For real. I was like, "Damn, I wonder how this gonna sound." Like, damn, I wonder how you gonna tweak this one up. But shit, it came out dope. That's a favorite to most people. Immaculate. You know what I mean? I trust bro vision. You know what I mean? His vision, it appears to be right. Everybody fuck with it. Because if it was up to me, I'd have threw some scratches on that motherfucker and just, But it didn't. I knew it didn't require a word hook, like a melodic hook, like that type of vibe. But bro said was like, nah, talk some more shit, talk some more. Go ahead. I just did it. There it is, man. Immaculate. The verses speak for itself and shit. The hook, it's backing it up. Like, damn, you hear this motherfucker? So
yeah,
it's immaculate.
Yeah.
Cost of living.
What was the hardest song to record on for this album?
You know what? The hardest song. I think
This Is Me.
Was it? This Is Me.
Go ahead. You mean hardest? Hardest, like what? Define.
Like emotionally hard, or just hardest is in the process.
Just the process.
The process. Man, probably one of the joints that we didn't put on the album. You think because we did a joint where it's like multiple different voices and different characters and stuff like that, and we didn't put it on the album. We'll probably release it, but we didn't put it on the album. It just didn't fit the album, but it's a dope track, crazy dope track, and it just has like there's a bunch of different. He recorded in pieces and came back and filled in these pieces with different characters, and Phil even played a girl in this song.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of different things going on in this song. Yeah, it's a whole story. It's a storyline, from beginning to end that kind of brings you right in, and you can picture it. And even more so if you know the areas that he's talking about and the places he's talking about. But even if you don't, you can apply it to wherever, man. It's just one of those storylines that's really dope, man. And yeah, no, we'll end up putting it out, I'm sure.
That was a tough one. That was one of the joints. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was gonna say, but as far as what's on the album, what you've heard, what you think This Is Me?
As far as emotional, yeah, This Is Me, and This Is Me, and Just Imagine. You know what I'm saying? This Is Me and Just Imagine, but more so, This Is Me, because I've never tapped into that. I never tapped into that with myself. You know what I mean? That was a lot of things people really didn't know about me, because I walk around. I'm not the type of person just to, broadcast my personal business and everything like that, and things I've been through as a kid. And, I don't broadcast it. I don't glorify it. But, Apollo, he asked me to dig deep when it comes to writing this record, and I did. I opened up, and, and then one of my homegirls, she committed suicide. And I always felt after that happened, I needed to get the right time to really talk about this and talk about mental health and those things. And if I would have been done that, I probably would have helped her in such a way. And she would have felt she had someone to talk to or come to or go get help and inspire somebody in some way. So, yeah, definitely this is me. Like, I actually, writing that record, I shed tears. I was just like, I was very emotional when I was writing that record in the basement. I was very emotional. But yeah, if that was the answer, I have to say that one. That is the answer. This is me. But that unreleased record, it was a lot of characters, man. That was the craziest one to record. Crazy.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, sorry, go. Brutus. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, it's very hard to pick a favorite track from the album, because it is such a listening experience from start to finish.
That's a great thing.
Yeah, I agree.
He said that.
Yeah, even when you drop the singles first, it was like you knew that this was part of something big. A lot of people can put out a song, no worries, but to put out a single like that, it was like, okay, there's more to this. And we got 15 of them. You know what I mean? So very, very hard for an album that you can just press play, listen through, go back to the start, press play, listen through. Very hard to pick out some of those defining moments. I agree with This Is Me, because it's very rare that you are able to feel a lot of emotion from MCs, as if if you were there, you'd put your arm around them and pat them on the back and be like. But that was one of those moments. Is there any track out of the 15 that stick out as a favorite track, whether it's the backstory, whether it's how it came about? That's a question for each of you. Do you have a favorite joint?
My favorite changes day to day. You know what I'm saying? It really depends on my mood. And I tell Philly all the time, you're doing a good job. You're doing it right when you can. Let's say I put out a post right now on social media and said, "Hey, everybody, what's your favorite album or favorite record on the album?" And everyone has a different favorite. That's how you know you're doing it right. Everyone comes back with a different song, and no one gravitates towards that one song. And that, because you don't want that. You want it to be a solid album as a whole. And that's how I feel personally. It depends on my mood. It depends on how I feel that day. One day I love Time Goes. That's my favorite. One day This Is Me is my favorite. One day Free is my favorite. It just depends on, how I'm feeling that day, man. And that's a good thing. Like, cause that tells you, music it inspires emotion. Sometimes it dictates emotion. Or sometimes your emotion dictates what you listen to. So it go hand in hand, man, and that's you know, it really depends on my mood. Really depends on how, you know. But you know, there's, like you said, I can go through the whole album back to back to back to back to back, and there's no skip tracks. I try to do that with any album I produce, man. I don't want any skip tracks. Like I don't do throwaway songs, or filler songs is what people call them.
Right.
I don't do a filler song. My name is on every one of these songs. I'm not doing a filler song. I'm every song somebody's gonna like. It's gonna be, there's something for everybody, and that's how I like to keep it, man. So, yeah, that's my answer with that, for that one.
With me, it was like, now my disclaimer, Free is one of my all-time favorite records from myself. When I heard the beat, I knew it was gonna be special to me, So Free is up there with one of my all-time favorites from myself. I love that record to death, just as much as I love every other record. But I also have these times when, lately for me, I'm gonna just go lately for me, because they changed too. But lately, one night I was sitting with my cousins, and I had my braggadocious moments when I talk my shit, and I just start kicking the verses and keep going. Like that verse on Keep Going, it was just like, I don't know what made me say that, and I'm surprised. I really wouldn't even say this on camera, but I had that braggadocious moment when I just got cocky and shit. I was just like, man, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like I said that. So I've been bumping that shit lately. Like that's been the one lately. But Free has been the one. Immaculate has been the one. Every record, every track on the album got its turn. You know what I'm saying? In the ride, like back to back plays. Immaculate, the way the shit drop. Free, the way Apollo, manipulated the orchestration of the vocals on the it's just every track on the album will get its turn. Next week, it'll be Just Imagine. You know what I mean? Some days it's the fucking intro. Some days it's the intro. That's like cinema. It set the tone. I have never listened to Cost of Living without playing the intro first. True story. So yeah, every track get its turn.
Nice. What's the immediate future look like for both of you? Like, do you have any plans you can tell us about? Any upcoming releases or future projects with both of you again?
I mean, everybody knows me, man, and I don't divulge too much information, man. I'm very secretive of what I do and what I do for the future. So I've never been one to announce the announcement. It's I'm all about the proper rollout. I don't know if that's just because I'm old school, and I've never been one to finish an album on Tuesday and put it out on Friday. I got to have a proper, campaign. I need to lead up to the release of the album, with singles and videos and certain things to kind of get you salivating. So but I also don't divulge, I'm working on things, and I'm always working, because in this industry, if you don't work, you don't eat. And so I'm always working, and I'm always trying to come up with new stuff and work with new artists, and artists that I think are amazing, and that would complement my sound well. But I can't tell you what's going on, or what 2023 is looking like. But right now, for me, it's all about cost of living. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a staple of your career, Apollo, is that you don't double. I was actually impressed that we even got the fact that there was a track that was left off the album. That was a rare.
True.
We got you on that.
There's actually a couple. So,
yeah, couple.
Yeah.
What about you, Philmore?
Yeah.
What's up?
Well, Apollo's working to. If you don't work, you don't eat. I'm trying to break the doors down, man, where I'm trying to work to eat in this shit. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, always working, man. Always working. Always, there was an album, like I said before this. I'm putting the fine touches on that. I'm tweaking it up, and I just want to keep myself ahead of the game. You know what I'm saying? Definitely not gonna say any titles or anything in that nature because I'm still working. You know what I mean? I'm working on it. Always working, bro. Always working. Looking forward to shows. You know, and we're gonna. I'm just ready to work. Ready to work.
Yeah, I mean,
with
when it comes
whoever and whoever working, whoever that's working.
when it comes to me and Phil, the door is always open. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead,
open.
my bad.
The door is open, man. You know,
Yeah.
whenever it comes to us,
Yeah.
we still talking about touring, and we haven't toured the album yet. Obviously, album just came out. I like to let the album sit with the people, let it marinate a little bit, let people get it in their heads first, and learn the record, and just let people sit with it for a minute before we tour. But definitely, talking about getting on the road, man, and hitting a few places and experiencing some things, man. So a tour will be dope, and then future work that's always open. So
Well, you did say off camera, Apollo, that you need to get back down here. So we would welcome the cost of living tour down under,
man.
if you get the chance.
Yeah,
I
definitely got to get back down to Australia. Yep.
Nice. Yeah, sorry, go. Yeah. Now, look, this has been a once in a lifetime interview. We couldn't have asked it to go any better. Legendary rapper, legendary producer, all in the same place. And so thank you again for you guys for your time.
Yo, man, appreciate you guys having us, man. Appreciate the good words. Like I said, the nice write up, man. That's one of the better write ups I've read in my career. So, you can't get any better than that, man. And a 10 out of 10, we'll see what them Raw Side Hip Hop Awards are looking like next year, man. We'll see what's up.
Excellent.
Thank you,
And that means a lot to Apollo because Apollo, your music's been a soundtrack of my life for 20 odd years. Philmore relatively new, but like I said in the review, if this doesn't catapult you into the stratosphere in terms of some of the other artists, man, because what you do is insane and underappreciated at the moment. But I can see this as a really big launching pad for you because it's an impeccable album and a really great project.
Dope.
Thank you, man. I can't thank Apollo enough for this opportunity, man. I just stepped up to the plate. You know what I mean? So thank you guys for the great write-up. Thank you. We see what the future holds, man.
Absolutely.
Keep going. Keep going. Cost of living out now. Keep going. Track number 3. I'm sorry. Track number 3.
That's it.
Listen to 2 to get to 3, though.
Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll make sure to post this and send this to you guys ASAP.
Sounds good, man. You guys take care, man. Thanks for having us.
See you later.